I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Dave, and I just found out my wife, Lisa, has been cheating on me for the past 6 months. It's a mess, and honestly, I feel like I'm still trying to catch my breath from the shock. We'd been together for 5 years, and I thought we had a good thing going. We didn't fight much, and I always believed she was loyal, at least until recently. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but I'd been blind to the cracks. Maybe I was just too comfortable, but I started noticing little things that didn't sit right. She'd come home later than usual, wouldn't answer her phone, and she started being suspiciously secretive about her texts. She'd hide her phone when I came near, and she'd always have some half-baked excuse if I asked what was so urgent. I figured she was just stressed or maybe working late, but now I realize I was just ignoring the signs. The biggest red flag, though, came about 2 weeks ago. I was at work when I decided to check her phone because she'd been acting weird. Nothing major, just a gut feeling. I wanted to see if there were any messages that could explain her distant behavior. That's when I saw the text that shattered everything. She'd been messaging someone named Mike. The name itself isn't unusual, but the tone of the messages was flirty, intimate, even downright sexually charged at times. She was telling him she loved him more than she loved me, that she'd always prefer him, and that she couldn't wait to see him again. My stomach dropped when I read that. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My mind raced. How long has this been going on? Who is Mike? How could she do this to me right at the start of what I thought was the best phase of our lives? I mean, we just had our wedding and I was standing there feeling like a fool. She'd sworn she loved me, sworn she'd be faithful. And here she was, texting some other guy, telling him she loved him more than she loved her own husband. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I kept digging. I found more messages, pictures, even. She sent him a picture of herself in her wedding dress, which made my blood run cold. It was like a punch to the stomach. I couldn't believe I married someone capable of such betrayal. All these months I thought she was just busy, maybe stressed, or maybe I was just imagining things. But now I knew the truth. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I stayed up, staring at the messages on my phone, feeling numb and furious all at once. All the lies I'd been told, all the times she said she was working late or hanging out with friends, she was really sneaking off to be with him. I kept asking myself how I missed all of it. How did I not see the signs? How could she pretend to be this loving wife when she was hiding a whole other life? The worst part is the betrayal isn't just emotional. It's also about the fact that she's a bitch about it. When I confronted her the next day, she didn't even try to deny it at first. She went into this whole spiel about how she was confused, that she loved me but also felt something for Mike, and that she never meant for it to get this far. She was crying, trying to make me feel guilty, telling me I was controlling and that I always overreacted, as if I was the one who was wrong for just wanting honesty. But I saw through her bullshit. Everything she said sounded like a well-rehearsed excuse. She called me paranoid, said I was making a big deal out of nothing, and that I was suffocating her. Meanwhile, she kept texting Mike right in front of me, acting like I was just overreacting. The nerve of her, honestly. She's been lying to my face for months, and now she's trying to turn it around on me. The more she denied, the more I realized her lies were just part of her manipulative game. She's got this bitchy, dismissive attitude about everything, like I'm just some obstacle she's trying to get rid of so she can be with her new guy. I felt a mixture of rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. How did it come to this? How did she think she could hide it forever? I kept asking myself if I was just blind, or if I'd missed all the signs because I wanted to believe in her so badly. I honestly don't know how I'll get over this. It's like my whole world has been turned upside down, and I can't even sleep because all I can think about are those messages, her lies, and the way she looked at me when I confronted her. Like I was nothing, just some idiot she used and discarded. This is just the beginning of what I know will be a long, painful process. But I also know I can't keep pretending everything's okay. I have to decide what to do next. Do I call it quits? Do I fight for her? I honestly don't know. All I know is that I've been played and it's going to take a lot more than words to fix this mess. After I confronted her, Lisa just sat there, staring at me with that bitchy smirk she always had when she thought she was in control. She kept saying things like, "You don't understand, Dave. I was just confused. It's not what you think. Mike and I were not serious. It's just sex, nothing more. But I knew better. Her words sounded hollow, like she was trying to manipulate me into believing she was innocent when I had all the proof right in front of my face. I couldn't believe I was even listening to her, honestly. The woman I married was sitting there trying to gaslight me, telling me I was overreacting, that I was jealous, that I was controlling. She was acting like I was the problem, not her. It made me furious. I wanted to shake her and scream, "You betrayed me, you bitch." But I kept my cool because I knew losing my temper wouldn't get me anywhere. Instead, I just looked at her and said, "You swore you loved me. How could you do this? How long has this been going on?" She shrugged, trying to act like it was no big deal, like she was just a victim of some fleeting temptation. "It wasn't like that, Dave, I swear. I never wanted to hurt you. Honestly, I kinda hated the whole wedding thing. It was just a stupid night for me, a mistake. You've got to understand, I was feeling trapped. Mike makes me feel alive and I don't know. I was stupid." Her words made my skin crawl. That stupid excuse, that mistake. It was so typical of her, always spinning lies, always trying to make herself look like the victim. I could see her bitchy attitude shining through, how she dismissed my feelings, how she kept twisting everything around to make herself seem innocent. The worst part, she kept texting Mike during this whole conversation. While I was sitting there trying to get answers, she'd sneak her phone out and send another message. I saw her sneaking her thumb over the screen, typing away like it was nothing. That's when I finally snapped. I reached across the table and grabbed her phone right out of her hand. She tried to pull away, but I held on tight. Seeing her caught in her own lies, her face flushed with anger and frustration, was a kind of relief. I scrolled through her messages and saw even more proof. They had plans to meet again that same night. She was telling him she couldn't wait to see him, that she loved the thrill of sneaking around. She looked at me with this bitchy glare, as if I was just some inconvenience standing in her way. I felt my blood boiling. Everything I thought I knew about her, about us, was a lie. All the promises, all the forever stuff, it was bullshit. She'd been planning this behind my back, sneaking around with Mike, and all the while pretending to be this perfect wife. I never wanted to believe it was true, but now I had all the evidence I needed. She was a liar, a cheater, and worst of all, she didn't even care that I found out. In that moment, I realized I couldn't stay with her. Not after everything. I told her to leave, told her I never wanted to see her face again. She threw a fit, calling me paranoid, saying I was overreacting, that I didn't understand her. But I just looked at her and said, "You've been lying to me for months. I trusted you, Lisa. I thought we had something real, but you're just a manipulative, bitchy little slut who thought she could get away with everything." She stormed out, yelling at me about how I was overreacting, how I was crazy for accusing her without proof, even though I'd just seen it myself. The whole thing was surreal. I sat there in my kitchen, staring at her texts, feeling numb. My heart hurt, but I was also furious. How could she do this? How could she be so callous, so dismissive of what she's destroyed? I kept thinking about the wedding day, how perfect it was, and how I was so proud to marry her. And now I felt like I'd been played, used, like I was nothing. The woman I loved had been hiding her secret life right under my nose. It's like I was just some fool who believed in fairy tales, and now I was left with a broken heart and a ton of questions I'll probably never get answers to. I don't know what's going to happen next. Part of me wants to fight for the marriage, to believe she's just confused or lost, but another part is thinking about how much damage has already been done. Can a trust that's broken this badly ever be repaired? Or is this the end? Right now, I feel like I'm just trying to hold myself together. This betrayal has shattered anything I thought was real between us. And the worst part, I still can't sleep. All I see are her texts, her sneaky little smirk, and the way she looked at me like I was nothing. After she left the house that night, I stayed up for hours, staring at the ceiling, trying to process everything. The house was eerily silent, and it felt like the walls were closing in on me. I kept replaying the confrontation in my mind, each detail burning deeper into my memory. The way she looked at me, so bitchy, so dismissive, like I was just an obstacle she needed to get rid of. I'd always thought she was the kind of woman who'd fight for us, but now I see it was all a facade. I called my best friend, Mike, the one guy I trusted with everything. I needed an outside perspective because my head was spinning. I told him everything and he was furious too. Said Lisa was a selfish bitch who didn't deserve a second chance and that I needed to get out fast. But part of me, the stupid part, still wanted to believe there was some way to fix this. Maybe she was just confused. Maybe she didn't really mean those things. I kept telling myself that, even though deep down I knew better. Over the next few days, I started noticing more signs. She began deleting her messages, trying to erase her tracks, but I had already seen enough. She was trying to cover her ass, but I knew her game. I found a bunch of her receipts and hotel bookings, just in case she was planning to run off with him again. It was all so obvious now. All the little lies, the fake apologies, the "I love you but I need space" bullshit. I felt like a fool, like I'd been played for the last 6 months and I hadn't even realized it. One particular moment hit me hard. I was at work when her sister, Jessica, called me unexpectedly. Jessica's always been close to Lisa, and I figured she'd know what was going on. But instead, she sounded weird, hesitant. She told me Lisa had been acting off lately, secretive, dismissive, and she'd caught her sneaking around. Jessica even told me she'd overheard Lisa talking to Mike on the phone about how she was done hiding and planning to leave me once she had her escape route set up. Hearing that just crushed me. I felt raw, betrayed all over again. That night, I decided I needed to see Lisa again, face her one last time. I wanted to hear her explanation, her excuse, whatever she had to say. I messaged her, telling her I'd meet her at the park where we'd gone on our first date. She showed up looking bitchy, trying to act like she was the victim. She kept saying things like, "You're overreacting, Dave. I didn't do anything wrong, you're just paranoid." But I knew better, I'd seen everything. I was just sick of the lies, sick of her bullshit. We sat on that park bench and she started crying, really fake tears this time, like she was trying to manipulate me. She said she was confused, that she didn't mean for it to turn into a mess, that she loved me but she also loved Mike and she just couldn't help herself. She told me she was stuck and that she'd never wanted to hurt me. I looked at her and the anger boiled inside me. I felt like I was just some pawn in her little game. I told her I couldn't do this anymore. That her lies and cheating had broken something inside me that I don't think I could ever get back. I told her I was done, that I was filing for divorce. She just shrugged, trying to act like she didn't care, like she was already planning her next move. Honestly, I was too exhausted to argue anymore. I just wanted her out of my life to stop this torment. The pain was too much. I'd trusted her for so long, and she just threw it all away. That night as I lay in bed, I thought about everything. The betrayal, the lies, the destruction of what I thought was a perfect marriage. I realized I'd been naive, but I also knew I deserved better. I kept asking myself how someone could be so bitchy, so callous, so selfish. How could she just cheat on me like it was nothing? I felt a mix of heartbreak and anger, and honestly, I didn't know what was worse. The fact that she'd lied so blatantly, or that she didn't even seem to care. The next morning was a wake-up call. I decided I wasn't going to be a victim of her games anymore. I started packing my things, preparing for the inevitable divorce. I knew I'd have to face the fallout, her bitchy attitude, her excuses, her manipulations. But I also knew I couldn't stay trapped in this toxic mess. I had to reclaim my life, even if it meant starting over from scratch. That's where I am now. Still hurt, still angry, but slowly trying to pick up the pieces. I've learned a lot about trust and betrayal, and I've realized that sometimes the person you love the most can turn into the biggest liar and manipulator. If there's one thing I want to tell anyone reading this, don't ignore the signs. Don't make excuses for someone who's cheating on you, because when you find out, it hits way harder than you ever expected. The days that followed were a blur of chaos and clarity. I went through her phone again just to confirm everything, no matter how much it hurt. The messages were still there, more proof that she'd been lying to my face for months. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. I started thinking about all the times she dismissed my concerns, called me paranoid, and acted like I was overreacting. It turns out she was the one sneaking around, not me. I decided to get a lawyer. I knew this was going to get messy fast. Lisa's attitude was so bitchy about the whole thing. She was trying to guilt-trip me, saying I was controlling and jealous, but I wasn't having it anymore. I'd caught her red-handed and I was done being her punching bag. I remember her telling me, "You don't understand what it's like to be this unhappy. You're just so controlling, Dave." Yeah, sure. She was the one hiding her secret life, acting like a victim, and I was the asshole for wanting honesty. I told her that I'd seen enough, that I was filing for divorce and that I wanted nothing to do with her fake tears and manipulations. She threw a tantrum, cursing me out, calling me a jealous psycho, and screaming that she loved me and wasn't going anywhere. But I just stood my ground. She kept trying to guilt me, crying about how she was so lost, but honestly, I was just exhausted. I'd been played, and I knew it wasn't worth wasting another second. At that point, I decided I needed to get some space. I moved into a friend's apartment temporarily while I figured out what to do next. I couldn't stand being in the same house with her, knowing what she'd done. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her texting Mike, heard her dismissive tone, and felt that deep, burning anger. I also felt a sick wave of sadness, knowing I'd lost what I thought was forever. That this woman, who once looked at me like I was her everything, had been lying and sneaking around for months. Some friends told me I should just cut her out completely, that she was trash and not worth my energy. Others said I should try to work things out, but honestly at this point, I didn't see how that was possible. Trust is shattered, and I'm not sure I could ever look at her the same way again. Every little thing now feels like a betrayal. I keep telling myself that I deserve better, someone who respects me, who's honest, and who doesn't lie, cheat, and treat me like I'm nothing. One thing I've realized through all this is just how much betrayal can change a person. I used to be trusting, maybe even naive, but now I see the world in a different light. I keep asking myself if I was just stupid for believing in her, for thinking she was loyal. But I also know that I have to accept what's happened and move forward. Staying stuck in anger and despair isn't going to fix anything. My biggest fear now is that she'll try to manipulate the situation even more, maybe come back crying, begging for forgiveness, or worse, trying to turn people against me. That bitchy attitude of hers makes me think she's capable of doing whatever it takes to get her way. I just want to get through this without letting her ruin any more of my life. I've started working on myself, focusing on my job, my friends, and trying to rebuild some semblance of normalcy. Honestly, I don't know what I expected from marriage, but I never thought I'd be here, writing this, feeling like I've been played for a fool. I keep thinking about how she swore she loved me, how she looked me in the eyes and lied. That bitchy, dismissive glare she gave me when she stormed out still haunts me. But I also know I need to focus on healing, on moving past her lies. I just hope that in time I can forget the hurt and start trusting again, even if that feels impossible right now. It's been a few weeks since I kicked her out. The house is quieter now, but honestly it still feels like a graveyard. The silence heavy, like the walls absorb all the pain and anger I can't quite process yet. I spent most of that time trying to keep my mind busy, working late, hanging out with friends, and trying to avoid the endless loop of her texts and her bitchy attitude. Every time I think I've moved past the shock, something triggers it again. An old photo, a song we used to listen to, or even just seeing her name pop up on my phone. What's strange is how quickly people start to pick sides. Her friends, her family, some are furious at her, calling her a cheating bitch, telling me I deserve better. Others are more sympathetic, saying she confused or going through something, trying to make me feel guilty for wanting to end things. But honestly, I don't care what they think anymore. I see her for what she is, a manipulative, bitchy woman who thought she could cheat and lie her way out of it. I'm done excusing her behavior. I've started seeing a counselor, not because I want to fix the marriage, hell, I don't think that's possible anymore, but because I need to get through this mess without losing my mind. Talking to someone impartial helps, especially when I can vent all my anger and betrayal without feeling guilty. They keep telling me to focus on myself, to rebuild my confidence and trust in people again. That's hard, though. Because right now, I feel like trust has been shredded, along with my heart. One thing I've learned is how bitchy Lisa actually is. She's so dismissive, so manipulative. She acts like she's the victim, like I'm the one who's crazy for catching her cheating. She's trying to make me feel guilty for calling her out, for exposing her lies. She's already started spinning stories to her family, saying I was abusive or too controlling. That's classic Lisa. She always tries to make herself look innocent, even when she's the biggest liar in the room. Honestly, I expected her to act stupid, but her bitchy attitude makes her look even worse now. I've also realized how much energy it takes to move on. Every day I wake up angry, and every night I lay in bed replaying everything. The lies, the sneaking around, that bitchy look on her face when she thought she was getting away with it. It's exhausting. But I keep telling myself I deserve better. I deserve someone who respects me, who's loyal, who doesn't call me crazy for wanting the truth. The funny thing is, I still catch myself second-guessing whether I should try to work it out. Sometimes I think maybe she's just really confused. Maybe I should fight for her. But then I remember that bitchy look, how she dismissed my feelings, and how she lied to my face. No, I don't want someone like that in my life anymore. I want a woman who's honest, who loves me genuinely, not someone who swipes on Mike behind my back and then tries to guilt me into staying quiet. I've also started to see the funny side of how much she's trying to manipulate everyone around her. Her bitchy attitude, her constant blame shifting, it's so obvious now. She's burning bridges everywhere she goes. I hear she's been telling her family I'm crazy, that I was abusive, that I was too controlling. That's rich coming from her, considering she's the one sneaking around with her best man, who I now realize was probably her backup plan all along. I never thought someone could be so bitchy about their own betrayal. She's trying to play the victim, but it's clear she's the villain here. Honestly, I don't even care anymore about what people think. I know I did the right thing by walking away. I've started to rebuild my confidence, block out her bitchy attitude, and focus on what really matters me. It's not easy. There are days I feel like giving up, days I cry in the shower, and days I just want to erase her from my mind altogether. But I know that eventually I'll heal. Time is the only thing that will dull this pain and help me forget her bitchy, manipulative face. So yeah, I'm still hurting, still angry, but I'm also a little bit stronger each day. The lesson I've learned is that sometimes, even the people you trust the most can turn out to be the biggest bitchy liars, and you've got to cut them loose before they ruin everything. I don't regret catching her. I just wish I'd seen through her bitchy act sooner, because now I'm finally starting to see a way out of this mess, and it's a damn good feeling. It's been a while since I made the decision to walk away from Lisa. The house is quieter, the nights are a little easier, and I'm finally starting to breathe again. I won't lie, I still get hit with waves of anger and sadness sometimes, but I've realized that holding onto that pain only keeps me stuck. I've learned that some betrayals are so deep that you can't fix them, only learn from them and move forward. What hit me the hardest was how much her bitchy attitude revealed her true character. She's manipulative, selfish, and utterly incapable of genuine loyalty. Her constant attempts to spin stories or blame me for her own cheating just confirms she's a master at playing the victim, even when she's the villain. Seeing her try to paint herself as the innocent victim made me realize how much she's been lying not just to me, but to everyone around her. Her bitchy manipulations only push me further away, and honestly, I don't miss her one bit. Since the breakup, I've focused on myself, my career, my friends, and rediscovering what makes me happy. I've started going to the gym regularly, which has honestly helped a lot, not just physically, but mentally. There's something about lifting weights and pushing myself that makes me feel in control again. I also cut out all contact with Lisa. Her bitchy attitude and manipulations are toxic, and I don't need that in my life anymore. Every time I hear her name or see her face, I remember why I had to let her go. Looking back, I realize I was naive for so long. I trusted her completely, even when the signs were there. But I also learned that you can't force honesty or loyalty from someone who's determined to lie and cheat. The more I tried to believe in her, the more she played me. That bitchy, dismissive attitude she had was just her way of hiding her true self. Now I see it clearly. She was never the woman I thought she was. She was just good at pretending to be everything I wanted. I want anyone reading this to remember something important. Don't ignore the signs, if someone is secretive, dismissive, or constantly making excuses, it's probably because they're hiding something worse. Trust your instincts. And if you find out someone you love is cheating, especially in such a bitchy, manipulative way, don't waste your time trying to fix things. Cut them loose. Your sanity and self-respect are worth more than any betrayal. This experience has been brutal, no doubt, but it's also been a wake-up call. I've learned that I deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty. I don't need to settle for someone who treats me like an option or a fool. I've come to accept that some people are just toxic, and the only way to heal is to walk away and rebuild from scratch. That's what I'm doing now. So, here's what I want to leave everyone with. Trust yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for your worth. And never let anyone, no matter how bitchy or manipulative, make you feel like you're the one in the wrong when you're just trying to be honest. I'm still healing, but I know I'm better without her. And honestly, that's the best feeling of all.